region are celebrating Chhath festival today. The celebrations this year have been largely subdued due to the ongoing coronavirus crisis. Devotees have prepared to celebrate the day in their homes, as local administrations too have imposed prohibitions for gatherings and mass worshipping. Good morning, I'm Sarah Chitrakar and these are the top stories of the hour. Both the factions of the ruling Nepal Communist Party busy in power saving and planning strategies after the deferral of Secretariat meeting by 10 days. COVID-19 infection tally in the country exceeds 215,000. Death toll climbs to 1,276. Doctors emphasize on testing all those with symptoms to avoid a looming crisis. The Nepalese stock market gains the highest turnover in its history yesterday. The index reaches a 4-year high. And Chinese President Xi Jinping says China will open up its supersized economy to import more high-quality goods and services while speaking at the APEC forum. Majority of the devotees in the Tarai Madhes regions are celebrating a Chhath festival in their homes, considering the persisting risk of COVID-19. Unlike previous years, this year the local administrations have prohibited conducting the Chhath rituals on the riversides. Previously, devotees decorated water resources, shrines and rivers for the celebrations. However, this year the festival has been largely subdued due to the coronavirus. The market areas, however, have been crowded with devotees buying materials for the celebration. Meanwhile, locals in Morang and Sunsari have prepared for celebration in riverbeds, defying advices by the local administration and health professionals. Devotees will fast for a whole day today and worship the setting sun later in the evening. The festival will conclude by worshipping the rising sun tomorrow. It is estimated that the ruling Nepal Communist Party is once again at the verge of a split after the parallel political reports of the party's two chairmen are going to be submitted at the party's upcoming Secretariat meeting on 28th of November. After Prime Minister and Party Chairman KP Sharma Oli requested for 10 days to come up with another political report to counter the report submitted by Executive Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal, both the camps seem to be spending the 10-day period on power saving and planning strategies against each other. We have more in this report.
The recent disputes between the chairman duo of the ruling Nepal Communist Party, KP Sharma Oli and Pushpa Kamal Dahal, exhibit that they have reached a point from where they cannot move ahead together. Prime Minister and Chairman Oli not only countered the insulting allegations against him at Wednesday's Secretariat meeting, but also warned that he would respond in detailed writing as the political report submitted by Executive Chairman Dahal was disgrace to him. It could be understood that the exchange of accusations between the two chairmen would be the top agenda of discussion at the Secretariat meeting, which is scheduled to be held on 28th of November. If no agreement is reached prior to the meeting, the rift is likely to intensify. Leaders seeking to reach a point of agreement have suggested that moving forward by merging the political reports submitted by both the chairmen could resolve the disputes. However, it is difficult to find a common ground as Executive Chairman Dahal has stated that the document he had submitted would not be withdrawn, saying it was a common view of majority 5 Secretariat members. As Executive Chairman Dahal has been active in establishing the political report to resolve all the contentious issues from the party meeting, immediate consensus could be a far cry. Premier Oli was forced to attend Wednesday's meeting as Executive Chairman Dahal, who had convened the gathering of the majority Secretariat members at the party headquarters for 3 times, did not budge from his stand. It would not be easy for Prime Minister Oli to evade the next meeting. However, the Dahal faction has speculated that Prime Minister Oli could use an alternative till the dissolution of the parliament if any unpleasant decision is taken. The Oli faction has been trying to convince senior leader duo Chalanath Khanal and Madhav Kumar Nabal and Vice Chairman Bamdev Gautam to lean towards this side, isolating Executive Chairman Dahal. The members of the Oli-led faction are looking for an option to declare themselves as failure and gain sympathy and support from the new generation. Political analysts opine that leaders from both the sides seem to be in the mindset to weaken each other during the 10-day period.
2,103 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 215,020. The COVID-19 death toll in the country has climbed to 1,276 with 17 more deaths reported. A total of 9,805 swab samples were tested in the past 24 hours, taking the test tally to over 1.63 million. 1,229 positive cases were confirmed in the federal capital, with 965 cases reported in Kathmandu district, 189 in Lalitpur and 75 in Bhaktapur. Likewise, 2,858 individuals registered full recovery in the past 24 hours, taking the national recovery tally to 185,638, and the recovery rate has climbed to 86.3%. According to Health Ministry, there are over 28,000 active cases in the country, with 2,759 corona patients in isolation centers, 26,421 in home isolation and 767 in various quarantine centers. The Health Ministry informed that 62 patients are receiving treatment in ventilators, while 380 are in ICUs across different hospitals in the country. The rate of coronavirus infection is on the rise by the day, even as the test of COVID-19 is declining. Experts have stated the tendency of symptomatic individuals not taking COVID-19 tests has made it difficult to control the infection rate. We have more in this report.
The government's double standard policy in charging for tests and treatment of COVID-19 has created confusion among the public. There is a tendency not to get tested and go to the hospital only after reaching a critical stage. The infected people have stopped going to hospitals due to the confusion of not being tested even after observing symptoms and having to pay the fees. Comparing the situation of the last 2 weeks, over 10,000 samples were tested on a daily basis, while this week only 3,000 samples were tested on an average. The dilemma of the cost for tests and the mentality of not testing for non-curable disease have attributed to the spreading of the infection. According to health experts, timely testing can protect other family members, colleagues and relatives from transmitting the virus and prevents infection in the community level. Doctors say that there is risk of pneumonia if timely treatment is not received, even if there are symptoms. Contact tracing, which is considered as an effective way to break the infection cycle, has been completely stopped. Even the local levels have stopped identifying those who have come in contact with the infected individuals. If the local levels take necessary initiatives, it would be easy to identify the infected individuals and to find out whether anyone needs medical attention. Health experts highlighted the need of testing to set up a mechanism to transport patients to the hospital and have warned the situation will become even dire in coming days if tests are ignored now.
The Nepalese stock market gained the highest turnover in its history yesterday, while the index reached a 4-year high. The daily turnover was a little over 6.11 billion rupees, which is the new intraday turnover in the history of the Nepal Stock Exchange. The previous all-time high was recorded on 1st of March earlier this year with a turnover of 4.84 billion rupees. The stock market witnessed huge investment due to the coronavirus pandemic, as there has been no expansion of investment in other sectors, and banks have also made loan interest cheaper. A total of 4.82 billion rupees was traded on Thursday last week, while the market saw a transaction of 4.79 billion rupees after Tihar break. Nepal Reinsurance Company Limited alone recorded the highest turnover of 410 million rupees yesterday. A total of 14.06 million units of shares were traded, while the NEPSE surged by 36.32 million points to settle at 1,778.12 points. All the 12 subgroups attributed to the overall increase of the NIPSE. The trading group recorded 10% increase yesterday. Likewise, the life insurance group index increased by 376 points, while the non-life insurance group's index surged by 399 points. Meanwhile, the commercial bank group saw a nominal increase of just 2.7 points. The National Human Rights Commission has drawn the government's attention to the fact that the victims of insurgency period have not been able to get justice even after 14 years since the comprehensive peace agreement was signed between the then Maoist and the government. Issuing a press statement yesterday, the Commission drew the attention of the government to take immediate action against human rights violators. The Commission has expressed its dissatisfaction over the delay in providing justice to the victims despite the peace agreement, arms management, integration of armed forces, formation of transitional justice mechanism, election of the Constitution Assembly, and the promulgation of the Constitution. The Commission has said that due to the reluctance in implementing the National Human Rights Commission's recommendation, victims of forced disappearance have not been able to get justice. Even as the Commission has recommended adequate legal provisions for action in cases of forced disappearances, only a few conflict victims have received interim relief and compensation. The Commission has also demanded to amend the laws related to the transitional justice mechanism in line with the recommendations of the Commission and the order of the Supreme Court. Out of the 1,195 recommendations made by the National Human Rights Commission, 940 recommendations are related to conflict. However, their implementation has not been satisfactory. The Commission has also urged to implement its recommendation immediately, as impunity has been increasing as the government is being reluctant in taking action against the perpetrators. Works of infrastructure development have been affected in the absence of coordination. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Dolka why have government offices lacked coordination in infrastructure development works. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
पटक पटक एउटै सडकलाई बजेट जान्छ, पटक पटक खानेपानीलाई पनि एउटै खानेपानीलाई बजेट जान्छ। यसो गर्दाखेरि विकास देख्नको निम्ति अथवा गर्नको निम्ति कागजको निम्ति मात्रै भइरहेको छ।
एक अर्कामा मिलेर काम गर्दिएको भएदेखि यो एकचोटी गरेको कुरालाई एकचोटी गरेको निर्माण का कामहरु चाहिँ बिग्रेर जाँदैन थियो, भत्केर जाँदैन थियो।
एकचोटी गरिसकेपछि फेरि त्यसलाई चाहिँ उत्खनन गर्ने, फेरि पुनर्निर्माण गर्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ काम गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो बजेट कहाँ कति खर्च भयो भन्ने कुरो जनता पारदर्शी छैन।
केन्द्रदेखि लिएर स्थानीय तहसम्म चाहिँ नीति चाहिँ स्पष्ट रूपमा बन्न सकिरहेको छैन, जसले गर्दाखेरि विकासका कामहरूले चाहिँ गति लिन सकिरहेको अवस्था छैन।
मन्त्रालयदेखि स्थानीय स्तरसम्म चाहिँ समन्वय सहकार्यको एकातर्फ अभाव छ भने अर्कोतर्फ विकासको जस कसले लिने भन्ने कुरा पनि अर्कोतर्फ चुनौती छ।
सरकारले बनाएको कानुन पनि एउटा बाधकको रूपमा छ, तत्काल कारबाही गर्न सक्ने कानुन पनि छैन। कसैले मलाई चित्त बुझेन भनेर मुद्दा हाल्दिहाल्यो भने त्यो लामो समयसम्म रहने भएको पनि कारणले पनि विकासमा बाधा पुग्यो।
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what is a reason for the victims not being able to get justice even after 14 years for the crimes committed during the insurgency period? Your options are A. Complication in investigation, B. Politicization of crimes, and C. Deception. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for sports update. Moving on, Nepalese spin prodigy Sandeep Lamichhane is set to play in the Australian League Big Bash this season for the Hobart Hurricanes. Sandeep will play in the Big Bash for the third consecutive season. Sandeep played from Melbourne Stars in the previous two seasons, in which he played 20 matches and took 26 wickets. During a conversation with the Hurricanes, Sandeep expressed of his excitement to be a part of the new team for the season. Coach Adam Griffith said that Sandeep had the ability to bring the X factor in the bowling attack. The figures of his contract has not been revealed yet. With this, the squad of the Hurricanes for Big Bash has been completed. Along with Sandeep, South Africa's David Malan and West Indies' Kimo Paul are among the overseas players. Based on the new rule, for the playing 11, 3 foreign players will need to be involved instead of 2. 8 teams will compete in the Big Bash starting from 10th of December. Sandeep's team will play against last season's title winner Sydney Sixers in the opening match. And before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Both the factions of the ruling Nepal Communist Party busy in power saving and planning strategies after the deferral of a secretariat meeting by 10 days. COVID-19 infection tally in the country reaches 215,000. Death toll climbs to 1,276. Doctors emphasize on testing all those with symptoms. The Nepalese stock market gains the highest turnover in its history today. The index reaches a 4-year high. And Chinese President Xi Jinping says China will open up its supersized economy to import more high-quality goods and services while speaking at the APEC forum. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.